Good morning, students. How are you? So, belated Happy New Year wishes to you all. Hope this year 2021 will be safe and we all will be healthy. This year will be good to all. Okay, ma? So, start with your prayer. Today's class. Thank you. நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். Okay, students. Good morning. Take your social science book. Take page number 69. So today we will discuss the last topic in 6th unit, VELLORE revolt of 1806. The first revolt in India against the British government. So already our Tamil chieftains and local landlords, that is local feudal chief, so like Pulitevar, Veerapandi Kattapamman, Marudhu brothers, so they opposed the rise of British government. So the aggrandizement policy of British government, British company, English is India company. The final step, so the final event in the early revolt against British rule in Tamil Nadu came in the form of VELLORE revolt. So first Pulitevar, so he was the first person to rise against the British company in India. Followed by him it was Velunachiyar, then Veerapandi Kattapamman, Marudhu Pandiyar, then Dheeran Chinnamalai. So we have discussed about them in our previous classes. So the last one, so the last revolt in Tamil Nadu, it was VELLORE revolt. So after VELLORE revolt, there was no much opposition against the company rule in India, so nearly for 1 century. So the VELLORE revolt took place in 1806, that is in the beginning of 19th century. So in the whole of 19th century, there was no much opposition against the British company. But later half of, so in the later half of 19th century, so the Tamil people, so they politically, so they get education and they began to oppose the British company government politically. So how they opposed it, so we will discuss in the upcoming lessons. So in today's class, just we will discuss about the VELLORE revolt. So the VELLORE mutiny of 1806. So it is considered as the forerunner of the Great Revolt of 1857. Okay, ma? So in our previous class, we discussed about the Marudhu brothers and Dheeran Chinnamalai. First, we discussed about the Marudhu brothers, Periya Marudhu and his younger brother Chinna Marudhu. So they were able generals of Muttuvadigar of Sivagangai. So after Vadigar's death in Kalayar Kovil battle, Marudhu brothers assisted in restoring the throne to Velunachiyar. But in the last years of 18th century, Marudhu brothers organized a resistance against the British. Then they later worked with Umathurai, so the brother of Veerapandi Kattapamman. So Marudhu brothers, so despite the suppression of Kattapamman's revolt in 1799, a rebellion again broke out in 1800, so which is referred as Second Palayakarar War. It was directed by the Confederacy consisting of Marudhu Pandiyan of Sivagangai, Gopal Nayak of Dindigul, Kerala Varma of Malabar, and Krishnappa Nayak of Dundaji of Mysore. In February 1801, the two brothers of Kattapamman, Umathurai and Savataya, escaped from Palayangottai prison to Kamudi, from where Chinna Marudhu took them to surveil his capital. In February 1801, two brothers of Kattapamman, Umathurai and Savataya, so they escaped from Palayangottai prison. So to them, Chinna Marudhu gave shelter in his capital, Sirvail. But when British asked them to hand over the fugitive, Chinna Marudhu refused. So the brothers of Kattapamman, Umathurai and Savataya, so reconstructed the Panjalangurichi fort in a record time. Then the British sent their army and attacked the fort, and again they recaptured the Panjalangurichi fort. Now Marudhu brothers, so they issued Tiruchirappalli proclamation. So they pasted the proclamations, so on the walls of fort of Nawab of Arcot and also on the Srirangam temple wall. So they posted the Tiruchirappalli proclamation in the walls of Srirangam temple and also on the walls of the fort of Nawab's palace in Trichy. So the British sent the company army and they defeated Marudhu Pandiyars and they hanged them to death. And they were hanged in the fort of Tirupattur near Ramanathapuram on 24th October 1801. These things only we have discussed. Then we discussed about Dheeran Chinnamalai. So Dheeran Chinnamalai, his real name was Tirthagiri. Then how he got this name Dheeran Chinnamalai? So Kongu region was under the control of Mysore Sultan. So Kongu region was under the control of Mysore Sultan, Tipu Sultan. So once Tipu's Diwan, so Muhammad Ali was returning to Mysore with the tax money. Tirthagiri blocked his way and confiscated all the tax money. He then let to go Muhammad Ali by instructing him to tell his Sultan that Chinnamalai, who is between Sivanmalai and Sivanmalai, was the one who took away the taxes. So thus he gained the name Dhiran Chinnamalai. After Tipu's death, Dhiran Chinnamalai built a fort and fought the British without leaving the place. So that's why the place is called as Voda Nilai, so which we know well. But English captured Dhiran Chinnamalai and his brothers and kept them in prison in Sangahiri, and they were hanged at the top of the Sangahiri fort on 31st July 1805. So till now, if we take the Tamil people revolt, it was under some leaders. So like Dhiran Chinnamalai, like Marudu brothers, Veeramata Kattaboman, like that. But if we take Vellore revolt of 1806, there is no leader. So there is no able leader like Marudu brother or some other persons. So the soldiers, so they themselves organized a revolt. But it was cruelly suppressed by the company forces. So what are the causes for the Vellore revolt? So how it happens, then how it came to an end, we will discuss in this class. So Vellore revolt of 1806. Before reducing all Palayakaras of South Tamil Nadu into submission, the East India Company had acquired the revenue districts of Salem, Dindigul at the conclusion of the war with Tippu in 1792. So before reducing all Palayakaras from South Tamil Nadu under their control, the English East India Company had acquired the revenue districts of Salem, Dindigul after signing the treaty with Tippu in 1792. So Coimbatore, so our region, was annexed at the end of the Anglo-Mysore War in 1799. So before reducing all Palayakars of South Tamil Nadu, how the northern part of Tamil Nadu came under their control? So we know the revolt against the company by the Palayakarar, so mostly took place in the south of Tamil Nadu. If you take Marudu brothers, if you take Pulithevar, so most of them came from south of Tamil Nadu. So only Dhiran Chinnamalai, so he is from western part of Tamil Nadu. So how the northern part of districts like Salem, Dindigul, then Coimbatore, so came under the control of British. So Salem, Dindigul, so the company had acquired the revenue districts of Salem and Dindigul after signing the treaty with Tippu Sultan in 1792. Then Coimbatore was annexed after the Anglo-Mysore War, after the fourth Anglo-Mysore War in 1799. In the same year, the Raja of Tanjavur, whose status had been reduced to that of a vassal. So vassal means a holder of your land under certain condition. So vassal means a holder of your land. So in 1799 itself, the Raja of Tanjavur, so his status had been reduced to that of a vassal in 1798, gave up his sovereign rights over that region to the English. So Tanjavur Raja, so gave up his sovereign right to English. So before reducing all the Palayakars of South Tamil Nadu into submission, the English East India Company had acquired the revenue districts. So revenue district means the power of collecting tax. So the power of collecting the revenues. So revenue means income. So the company had acquired the revenue districts of Salem and Dindigul in 1792 itself. So the Palayakars, so they were suppressed by the end of 18th century, by the end of 19th century. That is in the year 1801 itself. So the Palayakars revolt was suppressed, was put to an end. But before that itself, the Salem and Dindigul revenue districts so came under the British in the year 1792. Then Coimbatore, so Coimbatore was annexed in the year 1799. In the same year, Raja of Tanjavur gave up his right to the British. Then after the suppression of resistance of Kattaboman in 1799 and Marudu brothers 1801, the British charged the Nawab of Arcot with disloyalty. So disloyalty means not loyal or faithful to your friends, family, country, etc. So Nawab of Arcot, so he was a friend of British. But the British, after suppressing the resistance of Kattaboman and Marudu brothers, they charged the Nawab of Arcot with disloyalty. So they didn't treat Nawab of Arcot in a faithful manner. So they forced him to sign a treaty with them. So the company forced Nawab of Arcot to sign a treaty. So according to this treaty of 1801, the Nawab was to cede. So cede means to give land or control of something to another country or person. So as per the treaty of 1801, the Nawab was so forced to give his land, give the control of the districts of North Arcot, South Arcot, Tiruchirappalli, Madurai and Tirunelveli to the company and transfer all the administrative powers to it. So after suppressing Kattaboman and Mardu brothers, the British charged the Nawab of Arcot with disloyalty and forced a treaty on him. So as per this treaty of 1801, the Nawab was to cede the, so cede means so to give land or control of something to another country or person. So the Nawab was to cede the districts of North Arcot, South Arcot, Tiruchirappalli, Madurai and Tirunelveli to the company and transfer all the administrative power to it. So already the districts like Salem and Dindigul so came under, the revenue districts came under British when they were in war with Tipu Sultan in 1792. So Coimbatore was annexed in the year 1799 after the 4th Anglo-Mysore War. Then the southern part of Tamil Nadu, so some part of Tamil Nadu came under them after they defeated the Palayakars like Kattaboman and Maradu brothers. So now the districts like North Arcot, South Arcot, Tiruchirappalli, Madurai and Tirunelveli so came under the British after they forced a treaty with Nawab of Arcot. Okay, so thus, so if you see now, almost the major portion of Tamil Nadu came direct control of British. Okay, next, grievances of Indian soldiers. So grievances means something that you think is unfair and that you want to complain or protest about it. So something you think that is unfair, and that you want to complain to authority or protest against it. So grievances of Indian soldiers. But the resistance did not die down. So even though the Palayakars, so the leaders were defeated, the resistance, the opposition to the company did not die. The dispossessed little kings. So dispossessed means get rid of by throwing away or giving or selling to someone else. So the dissatisfied, so the dissatisfied little kings and feudal chieftains continue to deliberate on the future course of action against the company government. So the dispossessed, so the little kings, so who were not satisfied with the company government and also the feudal chieftains. So they continue to deliberate. So deliberate means to think very carefully about something, usually before making a decision. So the kings and the feudal chieftains, so the little kings and the feudal chieftains, they continue to think very carefully about the future course of action against the company government. So the outcome was the VELLORE revolt of 1806. So even though the British suppressed the great Palayakars like Kattaboman, Maradu brother, Dhiran Chinnamalai, so the dispersed resisted. So the little kings, so the dissatisfied little kings and the feudal chieftains, so continue to think very carefully about their future course of action against the company government. So the outcome was the VELLORE revolt of 1806. So the objective condition for a last ditch fight existed on the eve of the revolt. So the objective condition, the important conditions for a last ditch. So ditch means to get rid of something or somebody because you no longer want or need them. So to get rid of, so get rid means so stay away. So the objective conditions for your last ditch fight. So that is they want, so their last fight, so they want their last ditch of fight existed on the eve of the revolt. So the little kings and the feudal chieftains, so the last ditch of fight existed on the eve of the revolt. The Sipais in the British Indian Army nursed a strong sense of resentment over low salary and poor prospect of promotion. So the Sipais, the Indian Sipais in the British Indian Army, so faced a strong sense of resentment. So resentment, a feeling of anger or unhappiness about something that you think is unfair. So the soldiers in the British Indian Army, so they had a strong feeling of resentment because they have low salary and poor prospect of promotion. So they were not given promotion. So the Sipais in the British Indian Army had a feeling of, so had a dissatisfied, had a unhappy feeling of the company administration because they have low salary and poor prospect of promotion. The English army officers scant respect. So scant means hardly any or not very much and not as much as that should be. So that is they didn't give respect to the social and religious sentiment of the Indian Sepoys. So it also angered them. So the English army officers had to show a little respect to the social and religious sentiment of the Indian Sepoys. So this also angered them. So the Sepoys in the British army already, so they have a strong feeling so about that they were not provided with enough salary and the poor prospect of promotion. So the promotion was not given to the Indian soldiers. And the English army officers gave a very little respect. So sometimes they won't respect the social and religious sentiment of the Indian Sepoys. So these things made them angry. And at the same time, the state of peasantry, so peasantry, small landholders, so the state of peasantry, from which class the Sepoys had been recruited, also bothered them much. So the most of the soldiers, so they were from poor peasant. So it also bothered them much. So the common thing united them was, it was most of the soldiers came from the peasant class. So then with the new experiments in land tenures causing unsettled conditions and famine breaking out in 1805, many of the Sepoys families were in dire economic state. So the newly formed English East India Company government introduced some changes in land tenure. So the way of collecting tax. So already you have learned in your lower classes, like that permanent settlement method, reatwari system. So like that. So they introduced a new land tax collecting method. It caused unsettled conditions. It caused the peasants to suffer a lot. And at the same time, so some of the famines. So famine means so scarcity for food. So because of the new experiments in land tenures. So the famine which broke out in 1805. So many of the Sepoys families were in very strict economic condition. So very serious economic position. So because of the company's new experiment in land tenure and also the famine broke out in 1805. So many of the Sepoys family. So we know that most of the Sepoys were from the peasants class. So they were in dire economic state. So dire means very serious. So state means a very difficult situation, especially because of lack of money. So because of their poor economic condition, so the Sepoys were angry against the government. Then the most opportune situation. So opportune means suitable for doing something. So the most suitable thing. So the most suitable situation come with the sons and the family members of the Tippu being interned in Vellore Fort. So Tippu, who was defeated in the 4th Anglo-Mysore War in the year 1799, his family and his sons were taken up to the Vellore Fort. The trigger for the revolt came in the form of a new military regulation notified by the Commander-in-Chief Sir John Cradock. So already the Sepoys, so they were opposing, so they had a strong sense of resentment because of low salary and poor prospect of promotion. Then the English army officers, they were giving a very little or no respect to the religious and social sentiment of the Indian Sepoys. Then the land tenure, so introduced by the company, and also the famine broke out in 1805, so which caused the many Sepoys to be in poor economic condition. And the most affordable situation, so come with the sons and the family members of Tippu who were in the Vellore Fort. So the trigger, so trigger means so to initiate or actuate an incident. So to initiate an accident. So the initiation of the revolt came in the form of a new military regulation notified, introduced by the Commander-in-Chief Sir John Cradock. So what was the regulation introduced? What were the new regulations introduced by Commander-in-Chief Sir John Cradock? So according to the new regulations, the Indian soldiers were asked not to wear caste marks or earrings when in uniform. So as per the new regulations, the Indian soldiers, so they were asked not to wear caste marks on their forehead or earrings when they are in uniform. Then they were to be cleanly shaven on the chin and maintain uniformity about how their mustache looked. So the Indian soldiers, they were asked not to wear caste marks or earrings when they were in uniform. Then they were to be in cleanly shaven chin and maintain uniformity about how their mustache looked. The new turban, so the new turban, so that is turban, so like a cap, so like a long cap, introduced added fuel to the fire. The most objectionable addition was the leather cockade made of animal skin. So the most objectionable thing was the addition of leather cockade. So cockade, a decorated badge or an arrangement of ribbons, feathers, etc. that is worn in a hat to show military rank, membership of a political party, etc. So cockade means a decorated badge or an arrangement of ribbons, feathers, etc. that is worn in a hat to show military rank. So the newly introduced turban added fuel to the fire. The most objectionable addition was the leather cockade that is made of animal skin. The Sipais gave enough forewarning. So the Sipais gave enough warning by refusing to wear the new turban, but the company administration did not take it seriously. According to the new regulations, the Indian soldiers were asked not to wear caste mark or earrings when they were in uniform. They were to be clearly shaven on the chin and maintain uniformity about how their mustache looked. The new turban added fuel to the fire. The most objectionable addition was the leather cockade that is made of animal skin. The Sipais gave enough forewarning by refusing to wear the new turban, but the company administration did not take it seriously. So in our previous class, we discussed about the Marudu brothers and Dhiran Chinnamalai. First, we discussed about the Marudu brothers. Periya Marudu and his younger brother, Chinna Marudu. So they were able generals of Muthu Vadigar of Sivagangai. So after Vadigar's death in Kalayar Kovil battle, Marudu brothers assisted in restoring the throne to Velunachiyar. But in the last years of 18th century, Marudu brothers organized a resistance against the British. Then they later worked with Umathurai, so the brother of Veerapandiya Kattapomman. So Marudu brothers, so despite the suppression of Kattapomman's revolt in 1799, a rebellion again broke out in 1800, so which is referred as Second Palayakarar War. It was directed by the Confederacy consisting of Marudu Pandiyan of Sivagangai, Gopal Nayak of Dindigul, Kerala Varma of Malabar, and Krishnappa Nayak of Dundaji of Mysore. In February 1801, the two brothers of Kattapomman, Umathurai and Savataya, escaped from Palayangotai prison to Kamudi, from where Chinna Marudu took them to surveil his capital. In February 1801, two brothers of Kattapomman, Umathurai and Savataya, so they escaped from Palayangotai prison. So to them, Chinna Marudu gave shelter in his capital, Sirvail. But when British asked them to hand over the fugitive, Chinna Marudu refused. So the brothers of Kattapomman, Umathurai and Savataya, so reconstructed the Panjalangurichi fort in a record time. Then the British sent their army and attacked the fort, and again they recaptured the Panjalangurichi fort. Now Marudu brothers, so they issued Tiruchirappalli proclamation. So they pasted the proclamations, so on the walls of fort of Nawab of Arcot and also on the Srirangam temple wall. So they posted the Tiruchirappalli proclamation in the walls of Srirangam temple and also on the walls of the fort of Nawab's palace in Trichy. So the British sent the company army and they defeated Marudu Pandiyars and they hanged them to death. And they were hanged in the fort of Tirupattur near Ramanathapuram on 24th October 1801. These things only we have discussed. Then we discussed about Dhiran Chinnamalai. So Dhiran Chinnamalai, his real name was Tirthagiri. Then how he got this name Dhiran Chinnamalai? So Kongu region was under the control of Mysore Sultan. So Kongu region was under the control of Mysore Sultan, Tipu Sultan. So once Tipu's Diwan, so Muhammad Ali was returning to Mysore with the tax money, Tirthagiri blocked his way and confiscated all the tax money. He then let go Muhammad Ali by instructing him to tell his Sultan that Chinnamalai, who is between Sivanmalai and Sivanmalai, was the one who took away the taxes. So thus he gained the name Dhiran Chinnamalai. After Tipu's death, Dhiran Chinnamalai built a fort and fought the British without leaving the place. So that's why the place is called as Voda Nilai, so which we know well. But English captured Dhiran Chinnamalai and his brothers and kept them in prison in Sangahiri, and they were hanged at the top of the Sangahiri fort on 31st July 1805. So till now, if we take the Tamil people revolt, it was under some leaders. So like Dhiran Chinnamalai, like Marudu brothers, Veerapandiya Kattapomman, like that. But if you take Vellore revolt of 1806, there is no leader. So there is no able leader like Marud brother or some other persons. So the soldiers, so they themselves organized a revolt. But it was cruelly suppressed by the company forces. So what are the causes for the Vellore revolt? So how it happens, then how it come to an end, how it came to an end, we will discuss in this class. Gillespie's brutality. So brutal means violent and cruel. So major quotes. So who was outside the Vellore fort informed Colonel Gillespie, the cavalry commandant in Arcot. So major quotes. So who was outside the Vellore fort? He informed Colonel Gillespie about the revolt. So Colonel Gillespie. So he was the cavalry commander. So cavalry means cavalry, so the soldiers who fight on foot. So Gillespie reached the fort along with a squadron. So squadron, a group of military aircraft or ships forming a section of a military force. So Gillespie reached the fort along with a group of cavalry under the command of Captain Young at 9 a.m. So already the revolt, so it was broke out in the early hours of 10th July 1806. So Gillespie, after knowing about the revolt, so by major quotes, he reached the fort along with a group of cavalry under the command of Captain Young at 9 a.m. In the meantime, so the rebels proclaimed Fateh Haidar. So Fateh Haidar, he was Tipu's eldest son. So in the meantime, the rebels proclaimed Fateh Haidar, so the Tipu's eldest son, as their new ruler. So major quotes, who was outside the fort informed Colonel Gillespie, the cavalry commandant in Arcot. So Arcot, so which is near Vellore. So you can see in your map in your book. So page number 70, you can see the map. So in the top, so northern part of Tamil Nadu, Vellore, then near to that you can see Arcot. So Gillespie reached the fort along with a squadron of cavalry under the command of Captain Young at 9 a.m. In the meantime, the rebels proclaimed Fateh Haidar, the Tipu's eldest son, as their new ruler and hoisted the tiger flag of Mysore Sultan in the fort. So Tipu Sultan, so he was very much he was very much attractive towards tiger. So his symbol was tiger. So the soldiers, so the revolted soldiers hoisted the tiger flag of Mysore Sultan in the fort. But the uprising was cruelly crushed by Colonel Gillespie, who threw to wind all war ethics. So Colonel Gillespie, he didn't bother about the war ethics. So ethic means moral philosophy. So that is the discipline concerned what is good and what is bad. So morally, what is good, what is bad. So in a war, so there is some ethics. So there is some rules and regulations should be followed. Moral rules and regulations that should be followed. But Gillespie threw away all these things in the wind, in the air. And cruelly suppressed the revolt. In the course of suppression, according to an eyewitness account, 800 soldiers were found dead in the fort alone. So in the course of suppression. So according to an eyewitness account, nearly 800 soldiers were found dead in the fort alone. So 600 soldiers were kept in confinement in Tiruchirappalli and Vellore, and they were wait for inquiry. So 600 soldiers were kept in confinement. So confinement, the state of being forced to stay in a closed space, prison, etc., or the act of putting something there. So nearly 800 dead bodies were found in the fort alone, and 600 soldiers were kept in confinement in Tiruchirappalli and Vellore, awaiting inquiry. Then consequences of revolt. So consequence means result. So 6 of the rebels convicted by the court of inquiry were blown from the guns. So 600 soldiers were kept in confinement in Tiruchirappalli and Vellore awaiting inquiry. So among them, so 6 of the rebels convicted by the court of inquiry were blown from the guns. So they were shot to death from the guns. 5 were shot dead, then 8 hanged, Tipu's son were ordered to be sent to Calcutta. So Tipu's son were sent to Calcutta. The officers and men engaged in the suppression of the revolt were rewarded with prize money and promotion. So the officers and men who were involved in the suppression of the revolt were awarded with prize money and promotion. Colonel Gillespie was given 7,000 pagodas. So Colonel Gillespie, who suppressed the revolt, was given 7,000 pagodas. But however, the commander-in-chief, Sir John Cradock, who introduced new rules and regulations. Then the Adjutant General Agnew, so he only introduced that new turban. And the Governor General Lord William Bentinck. So William Bentinck. So have you heard about this name? Yeah, already you learn about him well. So William Bentinck. So he only abolished sati by passing the act in 1829. Before becoming the Governor General of India, he was the Governor of Madras region. Madras Presidency. So the Commander-in-Chief is John Cradock, the Adjutant General Agnew, and the Governor William Bentinck were held responsible for the revolt, and they were removed from their office and they were recalled to England. So next, the military regulations were treated as withdrawn. So the result of the revolt. So 6 of the rebels convicted by the court of inquiry were blown from the guns, 5 were shot dead, then 8 hanged. Tipu's son were ordered to be sent to Calcutta. The officers and men engaged in the suppression of the revolt were rewarded with prize money and promotion. Colonel Gillespie was given 7,000 pagodas. But however, the Commander-in-Chief Sir John Cradock, the Adjutant General Agnew, and Governor William Bentinck were held responsible for the revolt, removed from their office, and recalled to England. The military regulations were treated as withdrawn. Then estimate of the revolt. The Vellore revolt failed because there was no immediate help from the outside. So the Vellore revolt failed because there was no immediate help from outside. So the revolt only took place in the fort only. There is no help from outside. Recent studies show that the organizing part of the revolt was done perfectly by Subaidars. So Subaidar, a rank in military. So that was the highest rank given to Indian soldiers. So recent studies show that the organizing part of the revolt was done perfectly by Subaidars Sheikh Adam and Sheikh Hamid and Jamedar Sheikh Hussain of the 2nd Battalion of 23rd Regiment and 2 Subaidars and the Jamedar Sheikh Qasim of the 1st Battalion of the 1st Regiment. So the Vellore revolt failed because there was no immediate help from outside. But recent studies show that the organizing part of the revolt was done perfectly by Subaidar Sheikh Adam and Sheikh Hamid and Jamedar Sheikh Hussain of the 2nd Battalion of 23rd Regiment and the 2 Subaidars and the Jamedar Sheikh Qasim of the 1st Battalion of the 1st Regiment. So Vellore revolt, it failed because there is no help from outside. So the revolt took place only in the fort only. So it was a failure. Even though the recent studies show that the organizing part of the revolt was done perfectly by the Subaidars and Jamedars, it was failure one. What were the new regulations introduced by Commander-in-Chief Sir John Cradock? So according to the new regulations, the Indian soldiers were asked not to wear caste marks or earrings when in uniform. So as per the new regulations, the Indian soldiers, so they were asked not to wear caste marks on their forehead or earrings when they are in uniform. Then they were to be cleanly shaven on the chin and maintain uniformity about how their mustache looked. So the Indian soldiers, they were asked not to wear caste marks or earrings when they were in uniform. Then they were to be in cleanly shaven chin and maintain uniformity about how their mustache looked. The new turban. So the new turban, so that is turban, so like a cap. So like a long cap. Introduced added fuel to the fire. The most objectionable addition was the leather cockade made of animal skin. So the most objectionable thing was the addition of leather cockade. So cockade, a decorated badge or an arrangement of ribbons, feathers, etc. that is worn in a hat to show military rank, membership of a political party, etc. So cockade means a decorated badge or an arrangement of ribbons, feathers, etc. that is worn in a hat to show military rank. So the newly introduced turban added fuel Okay, students. So today's class we discussed about the VELLORE revolt of 1806. So the final revolt by the Tamil people. So the final revolt by the Tamil people in the year 1806. So the starting with the Palayakkarars revolt, which came to an end in VELLORE in the year 1806. So we have discussed about the causes and also the outbreak of revolt. Finally, how it was brutally suppressed by Colonel Gillespie. Then the estimate of revolt. So if you have any doubt in this topic, so please contact me. Okay, ma? So today's textbook reading. So take page number 69. Read the heading. So the grievances of Indian soldiers. Next, homework. Take page number 74. Third detail, account for the outbreak of VELLORE revolt in 1806. So I will send you the answer in the form of PDF. So the answer is in page number 69 and 71. So I will send you the answer copy in the form of PDF. Okay, ma? So do your homework and read it well. So very important lessons. So Indian history gave much more importance. Okay, ma? Okay, students, thank you. Have a nice day.